They tried to blind me, poison me, and rob me. My fiancée and her lover. They thought I was broken. But every lie, every blow, every poison is just another item in the dossier that I've been collecting for 3 months. Today, when the priest asks, "Do you agree?" I will say yes. And then I'll turn on the screens in the cathedral and show all our guests a real wedding video. The midday sun hammered through the carbon fiber bandages wrapped around Leo Thorne's skull, turning his experimental vision into a searing constellation of white-hot pinpricks. He stood motionless on the mansion's marble balcony, spine rigid, shoulders deliberately slumped forward to project fragility. Below, a swarm of paparazzi jostled for position, their camera lenses glinting like the compound eyes of predatory insects. Tiffany's fingers dug into his bicep with surgical precision. To the crowd, her touch appeared tender, a devoted fiancé guiding her wounded genius toward the light. Leo felt the crescents of her manicured nails press through the silk of his shirt, mapping the exact pressure required to bruise without breaking skin. She adjusted his tie with practiced, performative care. The jasmine-heavy perfume she wore invaded his nostrils, chemical and cloying, designed to announce her presence 3 rooms away. She leaned close, her breath hot against his ear. "Smile for your admirers, darling," she whispered, her voice dropping into the gravelly, impatient rasp she reserved for moments of privacy. "Play the gilded paperweight properly." The irony of a visionary who cannot see his own impending bankruptcy. The phrase dripped from her tongue with sadistic pleasure. Leo maintained his vacant, 1,000-yard stare. Behind the gauze, his pupils tracked the micro-expression dancing across her face, the slight upturn at the corner of her mouth, the predatory satisfaction glinting in eyes the color of polished jade. The high-risk optic nerve regeneration had succeeded beyond the surgeon's predictions, though Leo's vision remained hypersensitive to ultraviolet light and distorted at the edges, as if viewing the world through warped glass. The bandages served dual purposes. They protected his healing retinas from the assault of natural light. More importantly, they created a psychological veil, transforming him from hunter into prey in the minds of everyone who looked upon him. Tiffany stepped away, executing a graceful pivot for the cameras. Her pastel silk dress caught the breeze, billowing in soft waves. She raised one delicate hand to shield her eyes from the sun, the picture of exhausted devotion. Leo forced his lips into something approximating a smile. The photographers erupted, motor drives whirring like mechanical hornets. The party migrated toward the Rose Garden, a choreographed procession of wealth and false sympathy. Leo allowed himself to be guided along the stone path, each step a calculated performance. His loafers whispered against polished marble, then crunched softly on manicured gravel. He dragged his foot against a raised cobblestone. The stumble appeared graceless, uncontrolled. His weight pitched forward, arms windmilling in manufactured panic. Tiffany caught him with a performative gasp, her grip ironed beneath the facade of concern. "Careful, my love," she cooed, loud enough for the nearest guest to hear. "The path is uneven here." Leo used the momentum to skin the reflections trapped in the floor-to-ceiling French doors. His distorted vision caught fragments, a woman in emerald green clutching a champagne flute, a portly man with sweat staining his collar, and Tiffany's true face superimposed over her public mask. The cold calculation. The predatory stiffness in her jaw when she believed herself unobserved. He catalogued the positions of security cameras mounted in decorative sconces. He measured the distance between exits. The mansion transformed in his mind into a tactical grid, each room a coordinate, each corridor a potential escape vector. The guests settled into cushioned wicker chairs arranged around ornate tables draped in cream linen. Servers in crisp white uniforms circulated with silver trays, offering delicate hors d'oeuvres and crystal flutes of champagne. Through the narrow gap at the base of his bandages, Leo watched Martha emerge from the kitchen wing. The housekeeper moved with the shuffling, uncertain gait of elderly frailty, her orthopedic shoes making their distinctive scuffing sound against stone. She wore a baggy, lint-speckled uniform that disguised her wiry, muscular frame. Thick-rimmed glasses perched on her nose. Her gray hair was trapped in an unflattering bun. She carried a heavy silver tray laden with crystal flutes, each one catching sunlight and throwing rainbows across the lawn. Tiffany shifted her weight, a minute adjustment invisible to everyone except Leo. Her designer stiletto extended with lethal precision, angling across Martha's path at ankle height. Martha's foot caught the obstruction. The housekeeper pitched forward, arms struggling to control the weight of the tray. Crystal exploded against manicured grass, sending shards of glass spinning through the air like shrapnel. The crash deafened conversation, froze movement, turned every head toward the source of chaos. Leo remained motionless. His heart rate held steady despite the surge of protective anger coiling in his chest. He observed the sadistic glint in Tiffany's eyes, the way her lips parted slightly as she savored the destruction. The guests erupted in gasps and murmured concerns. Tiffany's voice rose above the commotion, pitch perfect in its feigned exhaustion. "Martha. For heaven's sake." She pressed one hand against her forehead, projecting the image of a woman stretched beyond her limits. "Are you becoming senile, or are you simply too clumsy to handle basic domestic duties?" The words landed with surgical precision, cutting through the afternoon air. Several guests shifted uncomfortably. Others nodded in sympathy, not for Martha, but for Tiffany, the young woman burdened with maintaining a household filled with broken people. Leo understood the strategy immediately. Tiffany was systematically isolating him from his loyal staff, constructing a narrative of decline and incompetence. When she eventually moved to seize control of his estate, when the lawyers presented documents granting her power of attorney, the guests gathered here would remember this moment. They would testify to the chaos. The senile housekeeper. The blind, helpless genius. Martha crouched on the grass, her movements slow and apologetic. She gathered shards of crystal with trembling hands, mumbling incoherent apologies that disappeared beneath the resumed conversations. Leo stumbled forward, his gait uncertain. Tiffany's hand shot out to stop him. "Darling, you'll cut yourself," she warned, her voice saccharine. Leo ignored the warning, shuffling forward until he reached the disaster zone. He crouched beside Martha, his hand extending toward a fallen napkin. Their fingers brushed as they both reached for the same piece of linen. In that brief contact, Leo noted the calm, steady pulse beneath Martha's papery skin. Her grip was firm, controlled. He observed the subtle tactical scars on her knuckles, marks of repeated combat training, calluses from weapons handling. Tiffany was too arrogant to recognize them as anything other than age spots. Martha's eyes met his through the gap in his bandages. No fear. No shame. Only cold, professional assessment. Leo released the napkin and pushed himself upright, resuming his vulnerable posture. The party continued for 3 more hours. Leo endured sympathetic touches on his shoulder, whispered expressions of admiration for his courage, and Tiffany's relentless performance of devoted care. When the sun finally descended behind the mansion's western wing, casting long shadows across the rose garden, the guests departed in a convoy of luxury vehicles. Tiffany guided him inside, her grip possessive. "Bath time, darling," she announced, steering him toward the elevator. "You must be exhausted." Leo allowed himself to be led. The elevator doors closed with a soft pneumatic hiss. They ascended toward the master suite, the mechanism humming beneath their feet. Tiffany's phone chimed. She glanced at the screen, her expression shifting into something sharp and eager. "I need to make a call," she said as the doors opened. "Why don't you rest? I'll bring your evening medication soon." She disappeared down the hallway, heels clicking against marble. Leo heard her voice drop into that gravelly rasp as she spoke into the phone, words muffled by distance. He retreated into his private study, closing the heavy oak door behind him. The room smelled of leather and old paper. Floor-to-ceiling bookshelves lined the walls. His desk, a massive slab of obsidian-colored polymer, dominated the space, its surface cluttered with tactile tools Tiffany had purchased for show. Braille pads. Audio recorders. Magnifying equipment. She had no idea the entire desk was a giant touchscreen interface. Leo settled into his chair, pretending to rest. He counted vintage clocks ticking on the wall, 12 distinct rhythms creating a symphony of temporal measurement. The sound helped him track spatial orientation when maintaining the illusion required keeping his eyes closed. 3 hours passed. The mansion settled into evening stillness, disturbed only by the hum of climate control. The heavy oak door creaked open. Leo heard the shallow breathing first. Then the rustle of synthetic fabric, tactical gear designed for silent movement. Rubber-soled boots whispered against hardwood. Julian entered wearing a black tactical mask, believing himself to be hunting a helpless blind man trapped in darkness. Leo sat motionless behind his desk. Through his bandages, he watched Julian's bulk move through shadows, watched the weighted baton rise in preparation for the strike. The mission was clear. Provoke a physical reaction. Test the reflexes. Determine if the blind genius could actually see. Julian lunged. The baton cut through air, aimed at Leo's temple with killing force. Leo saw the blur of the weapon, calculated trajectory and velocity with terrifying accuracy. Every instinct screamed for him to move, to deflect, to strike Julian's exposed throat. He forced his muscles to remain limp. The baton connected with his shoulder instead of his skull, the impact sending white-hot agony radiating down his arm. Leo tumbled from his chair, hitting the floor with a heavy, uncoordinated thud. He let his head bounce against hardwood. Let his limbs sprawl at awkward angles. Julian didn't stop. A boot connected with Leo's ribs, driving air from his lungs. Hands grabbed his collar, dragging him across the floor. The fabric cut into his throat. Pathetic sightless dog, Julian whispered, his voice thick with contempt. You don't deserve the empire you built. Another kick. Another. Leo focused his mind on a single point of internal stillness, suppressing every trained response, every combat reflex Martha had drilled into him during their covert preparation. He allowed his lip to split. Let blood pool in his mouth. Recorded the specific timbre of Julian's voice, catalogued the scent of his cologne, bergamot and cedar, expensive and distinctive. Future retribution required meticulous documentation. The sound of approaching heels froze Julian mid-strike. He released Leo's collar, slipping through the window with practiced efficiency. The curtains billowed in his wake. Tiffany burst through the door, releasing a rehearsed scream of terror. Her eyes swept the disarray, overturned chair, scattered papers, blood on polished wood. She made no move to apply pressure to Leo's wounds. Made no attempt to call an ambulance. Instead, she crossed to the wall safe, her fingers dancing across the digital keypad, checking for theft. Her primary concern was assets, not the men bleeding on her floor. I'll call the police, she announced, her voice trembling with false shock. She fled the room, heels clicking urgency. Silence descended. Then Martha entered, moving with predatory, silent grace. She carried a basin of warm water and a first aid kit. The frail housekeeper had vanished, replaced by something lethal and efficient. She ignored the debris, heading straight for Leo. Her eyes scanned the room for surveillance equipment, for hidden microphones. Finding none, she knelt beside him. Leo pushed himself upright, movements no longer clumsy but sharp and calculated. He wiped blood from his chin, meeting Martha's gaze directly through the bandages. He gave her a sharp, authoritative nod. Martha, former chief of security for a global private military firm, returned the gesture with a cold, professional smile. The trap wasn't set for Leo Thorne. The trap was being set by Leo Thorne. And Tiffany Vance had walked right into it. The morning light crept through the master suite's floor-to-ceiling windows, transforming the space into a cathedral of glass and cold angles. Leo sat propped against silk pillows, his carbon fiber bandages absorbing the pale glow. His body ached from Julian's assault, ribs bruised, shoulder throbbing with each breath. Tiffany entered carrying a silver tray, her movements liquid and graceful. She wore a cream cashmere robe, her hair arranged in artful disarray. The tea station sat on the nightstand, its porcelain pieces arranged with surgical precision. "Good morning, darling," she cooed, settling beside him on the bed. The mattress dipped beneath her weight. "Time for your vitamins." She pressed 2 tablets into his palm. The weight and texture registered immediately, wrong density, too smooth. These weren't his heart medication. Leo maintained his vacant expression, fingers trembling as he brought the pills toward his mouth. Tiffany leaned forward, her jasmine perfume overwhelming. She watched with predatory intensity as he placed the tablets on his tongue, as he reached for the glass of water she offered, as he swallowed. Her smile sharpened. "There's my good boy." Leo's vision began to blur within the hour. The experimental implants struggled against the chemical assault flooding his system. He recognized the symptoms: benzodiazepines, high-potency sedatives designed to induce brain fog and physical lethargy. He pressed his thumb against the jagged stone concealed in his pocket. Pain flared, sharp and clarifying. The agony tethered him to consciousness, prevented his mind from sliding into the pharmaceutical murk Tiffany had prepared. By midday, he descended the grand staircase with deliberate clumsiness. His hand gripped the railing, knuckles white with manufactured tension. Tiffany waited at the bottom, her phone positioned to capture his uncertain descent. The mansion's layout had shifted overnight. A mahogany entable blocked the path to the library. The console in the hallway had migrated 3 feet left. The marble floors gleamed with fresh wax, treacherous as ice. Leo's hip connected with the displaced furniture. The impact sent lightning through his bruised body. He stumbled, catching himself against the wall with a graceless lurch. "Oh, sweetheart," Tiffany gasped, rushing forward. Her fingers found his elbow, steadying him with performative concern. "You need to be more careful." She documented his instability with her phone's camera, capturing evidence of his declining motor skills. Leo allowed his words to slur slightly. "The table. It wasn't there yesterday." "Of course it was, darling." Her voice dripped condescending sweetness. "You're becoming confused. Perhaps we should discuss adjusting your medication dosage." The gaslighting campaign continued through the afternoon. Tiffany moved through the mansion like a ghost, subtly rearranging furniture, creating an obstacle course designed to generate minor injuries and photographic evidence of incompetence. Leo practiced micronaps during her charity meetings, stealing 15-minute intervals of genuine sleep to combat the sedatives. When she returned, he performed confusion with boardroom precision, glazed eyes, uncertain movements, the perfect simulation of cognitive decline. 3 days into the chemical assault, opportunity presented itself. Tiffany departed for a supposed gala meeting, her car disappearing down the long driveway. Leo waited 20 minutes, ensuring she wouldn't return for forgotten items. He climbed the stairs to her private dressing room, his movements no longer clumsy. The jewelry safe sat behind a full-length mirror, its combination lock unchanged since she'd installed it. 6 digits, the date she'd first met him, believing him too blind to notice her entering the code. The safe opened with a soft mechanical sigh. Inside, buried beneath velvet boxes and diamond necklaces, sat a leather-bound book. Wedding planner embossed in gold script across the cover. Leo opened it. No mention of flowers. No venue options. No guest lists or seating arrangements. Instead, forensic breakdowns of Sterling Global's offshore accounts. Step-by-step blueprints for total corporate liquidation. Maps of Leo's controlling interest with red lines marking the exact sequence required to strip him of everything he'd built. Her love had always been a calculated corporate raid. Leo photographed each page with the hidden camera embedded in his watch face. 23 pages documenting his planned financial execution. He returned the book to its hiding place, repositioned the velvet boxes, closed the safe. The evidence secured, he retreated to the library. A low-frequency humming vibrated through the ventilation system. Leo had noticed it for days, a persistent drone Tiffany dismissed as old pipes or his sedated imagination. He followed the sound through the mansion's corridors, tracking the vibration to the north wing. Yellow biohazard tape crisscrossed the entrance. A handwritten sign warned of severe black mold infestation. The humming intensified. Leo recognized the pattern: cooling fans, high-end server towers running intensive operations. She hadn't just planned a financial takeover. She'd installed a rogue data mining operation inside his home, intercepting encrypted communications and harvesting passwords. Leo examined the door. A simple lock, easily defeated. He extracted the tension wrench and pick Martha had given him weeks ago, working the mechanism with practiced patience. The lock surrendered with a soft click. He pushed the door open. His foot crossed the threshold. An infrared sensor triggered. Heavy-duty magnets engaged with bone-jarring force. The door slammed shut, sealing him inside pitch darkness. The sedatives clawed at his consciousness, urging panic. Leo forced his breathing to remain steady, pressed the stone in his pocket deeper into his palm. Pain cleared the fog. This wasn't an accident. This was a test. If he panicked like a confused invalid, Tiffany won. If he moved with precision, her suspicions about his act would be confirmed. Footsteps approached in the hallway. The rhythmic clack-clack-clack of designer stilettos on marble. Each impact measured, deliberate. Tiffany reached the door. Stopped. Made no sound. Light poured through the gap beneath the wood, silhouetting her shadow. She stood perfectly still, waiting. Leo held his breath. The darkness wrapped around him like armor. He remained motionless, a ghost in his own home, refusing to give her the satisfaction of his fear. 30 seconds passed. 60. 90. The shadow moved. The stilettos retreated down the hallway. Leo waited another 10 minutes before using the emergency release Martha had shown him, a concealed lever behind the doorframe molding. The magnetic lock disengaged. He slipped from the room, relocating the biohazard tape exactly as he'd found it. 2 days later, Tiffany escalated. Leo descended the grand staircase, performing his morning ritual of medicated confusion. Tiffany's scream erupted from the foyer, high-pitched and theatrical. He reached the landing in time to witness the tableau. Tiffany collapsed on polished marble, her silk blouse torn at the collar. Deep, bloody furrows raked across her forearms. She pointed a trembling finger at Martha, who stood frozen beside an overturned silver tray. "She attacked me!" Tiffany shrieked, her voice cracking with manufactured hysteria. "The jealous old woman attacked me." The household staff materialized from doorways, their faces shocked and horrified. Martha made no defense. Her expression remained neutral, professional, the face of a woman trained to absorb false accusations without flinching. Tiffany lunged for a heavy brass statuette decorating the hall table. Her fingers closed around the base, swinging the weapon toward Martha's skull with killing intent. Leo threw himself forward, executing a clumsy tumble down the final 3 steps. His body collided with both women, intercepting the statuette's trajectory. The brass connected with his already bruised shoulder, sending white-hot agony through damaged tissue. He used the momentum to grab Martha's arms, pinning them behind her in a restraining hold. To the horrified witnesses, he was a confused man protecting his fiancée. He leaned close to Martha's ear, his voice barely audible. "Wait." Martha's muscles relaxed beneath his grip. Understanding passed between them without further words. Leo released her, stumbling as if the effort had exhausted him. He turned toward Tiffany, his voice cracking with manufactured emotional instability. "Martha. I can't." He pressed his hand against his forehead, the picture of a man overwhelmed. "I cannot have violence in my home. After decades of service. I'm sorry, but you must leave. Immediately. No severance." Tiffany's expression transformed into predatory triumph. She'd severed his final connection, isolated him completely. Martha gathered her dignity, offering no protest. 2 staff members escorted her toward the gates, her orthopedic shoes scuffing against marble for the last time. Leo retreated to the master suite, allowing Tiffany to tend his shoulder with false concern. He endured her ministrations, her whispered reassurances, her chemical cocktail of evening sedatives. He waited until her breathing deepened into sleep. 3 hours after midnight, Leo descended through the mansion's hidden architecture. The mudroom's cedar closet concealed a private service elevator, its existence known only to the original architect and the men who'd commissioned the house's construction. The mechanism hummed to life, carrying him 2 levels below the wine cellar. Martha waited in the rain-slicked gardens at the designated coordinates. Her frail posture had vanished, replaced by military precision. Leo ushered her through the concealed entrance, down the reinforced concrete tunnel leading to the black site. The steel vault door hissed shut behind them. Ozone and chilled air replaced the jasmine-heavy atmosphere of the mansion above. Server racks glowed blue and green, casting the bunker in neon light. Leo removed his bandages. His eyes, no longer shielded, tracked across wall-mounted monitors displaying security feeds from every corner of the estate. He handed Martha the decrypted tablet containing photographs of Tiffany's liquidation blueprint. "She's been drugging me with benzodiazepines," he said, his voice losing its soft, monotone cadence. The words emerged sharp and tactical. "High-potency sedatives designed to simulate cognitive decline. I've documented 23 instances via lapel camera." Martha settled at the primary console, her fingers flying across keys. "The server installation in the north wing. Data mining operation. She's intercepting encrypted communications." Leo pulled up additional files on the secondary monitor. "I have forensic evidence of the financial raid. The fake wedding planner. The staged assault. Everything." Martha's cold, professional smile reflected in the screen's glow. Phase 2 protocols. Initiate counteroffensive. Leo's hands no longer trembled. His posture straightened, shedding the performance of fragility. Begin syncing encrypted accounts to offshore servers. Lock down Sterling Global's controlling interest behind quantum encryption she cannot penetrate. The walls weren't closing in anymore. The trap had reversed. And Tiffany Vance had no idea the cage was already built around her. Leo sat in his private study, the obsidian-colored desk cool beneath his trembling hands. The afternoon light filtered through dim windows, casting long shadows across the room. Tiffany loomed over his shoulder, her jasmine perfume suffocating, her presence a calculated weight designed to break his concentration. "Sign here, darling," she cooed, her voice dripping saccharine sweetness. She tapped a manicured nail against the power of attorney document. "Write on this line." The pen felt heavy in Leo's grip. He manufactured a tremor, letting his fingers shake as he brought the specialized instrument toward the paper. Martha had provided it 3 days ago, disappearing ink disguised as permanent marker. To Tiffany's eyes, the signature would appear bold and legally binding. Within 48 hours, the ink would evaporate completely. Leo dragged the pen across the paper, his handwriting deliberately unsteady. The letters formed in wavering loops, the signature of a man whose mind had deteriorated beyond repair. Tiffany snatched the document the moment he finished, examining the signature with predatory intensity. Her smile sharpened into something triumphant and cruel. "Perfect," she whispered, her voice dropping into that gravelly rasp. "Sterling Global is mine." She pressed a kiss against his temple, her lips cold. Leo maintained his vacant expression, pupils dilated behind the carbon fiber bandages. Tiffany's phone chimed. She glanced at the screen, her expression shifting into irritation. "Wedding coordinator," she muttered. "These people are incompetent." She swept from the room, heels clicking urgent patterns against marble. The moment the door closed, Leo's hand moved with surgical precision. He extracted the proximity-based hacking device Martha had installed beneath the mahogany desk, a small, innocuous chip disguised as decorative inlay. He activated the sequence with 3 rapid taps. Tiffany's smartphone signal appeared on his hidden touchscreen interface. The encryption crumbled beneath military-grade algorithms. Data streamed across the display, messages, photos, voice recordings. Leo navigated to the password-protected folder buried in her communications app. The contents materialized on screen. Intimate messages between Tiffany and Julian. Voice notes exchanged in the dead of night. A chilling timeline marking Leo's planned, accidental, death post-wedding. They discussed methods, overdose, staged fall, cardiac arrest induced by potassium chloride. Her affair wasn't recent. It had begun 18 months ago, before the lab explosion, before Leo's experimental surgery. The corporate raid had always been a partnership. Julian provided the muscle. Tiffany supplied the strategic brilliance. Leo downloaded every file to his encrypted server. The evidence secured, he severed the connection and repositioned the hacking device. Evening descended on the mansion. Tiffany entered the master suite carrying her silver tray, the porcelain pieces arranged with obsessive precision. The tea station materialized on the nightstand, steam rising from the delicate cup. "Time for your evening medication, my love," she sang, settling beside him on the bed. She pressed 2 tablets into his palm, double the usual dosage. Leo recognized the increased weight immediately. Tiffany prepared the chamomile tea with theatrical care, stirring the liquid with a porcelain spoon. The clinking sound echoed through the room, a villain's theme marking each rotation. She brought the cup to his lips. "Drink it, darling. Every drop." Leo complied, maintaining his trembling grip on the delicate china. The liquid burned down his throat, bitter and chemical. Tiffany watched with predatory affection, stroking his hair as he swallowed the poison tea. She logged his consumption in a leather-bound medical diary, her handwriting precise. Evidence for the board of directors. Documentation of a mind slipping irrevocably away. "Rest now," she whispered, tucking the blankets around him with false tenderness. "Tomorrow is a big day." She departed, the bedroom door clicking shut with mechanical finality. Leo counted her footsteps retreating down the hallway. 37 steps. The elevator mechanism engaged. She descended to the lower floors. He threw off the blankets and rushed to the ensuite bathroom. The marble felt cold beneath his bare feet. He retrieved the concealed emetic from the false bottom of his shaving kit, a substance designed to induce violent vomiting. He swallowed the capsule without water. The reaction erupted within seconds. Leo collapsed over the toilet, his body convulsing as it expelled the poison tea. The process was brutal, scraping his throat raw, leaving him gasping and shaking on cold marble. 20 minutes passed before his heart rate stabilized. Sweat poured down his spine. His muscles trembled with exhaustion and dehydration. He forced himself upright, gripping the sink with white-knuckled hands. His reflection stared from the mirror, pale, hollow, but lucid. This ritual was the only path to survival. The following evening, Tiffany hosted a lavish pre-wedding dinner. The long mahogany table stretched through the dining room, its surface laden with crystal and sterling silver. Board members from Sterling Global occupied plush chairs, their expressions ranging from sympathy to poorly concealed impatience. Leo sat at the head of the table, vacant and silent. Tiffany positioned herself beside him, her hand resting possessively on his shoulder. "I want to thank you for coming," she announced, her voice trembling with manufactured emotion. "These past months have been devastating. Leo's condition has deteriorated significantly." She dabbed her eyes with a silk handkerchief. Several board members shifted uncomfortably. The CFO, a gray-haired woman named Patricia, leaned forward. "Leo, can you hear me?" Tiffany squeezed his shoulder with warning pressure. Leo stared at his untouched plate, his expression blank. He mumbled something incoherent, words slurring into nonsense. Patricia exchanged glances with the other board members. Tiffany's performance continued, spinning a narrative of devotion and sacrifice, painting herself as the grieving saint bearing an impossible burden. The dinner dragged for 3 agonizing hours. Leo endured sympathetic touches, whispered condolences, pitying stares. Each interaction reinforced Tiffany's public image, made it nearly impossible for anyone to believe his eventual testimony. Midnight approached. The mansion settled into silence, disturbed only by the hum of climate control. Leo lay in the darkened master suite, his breathing slow and measured. The smart bed's biosensors fed Tiffany false data, heart rate slow, brain activity minimal, a man deeply sedated. He remained wide awake. The balcony door whispered open. Bergamot and cedar invaded the room, Julian's expensive cologne announcing his presence before sound betrayed him. Leo tracked Julian's position through the darkness. Rubber-soled boots made minimal contact with hardwood. Fabric rustled, tactical gear designed for silent movement. Julian approached the bed, arrogant and confident. He carried a syringe loaded with potassium chloride, the liquid glinting faintly in moonlight filtering through blackout curtains. He reached for Leo's exposed arm. Leo's hand shot out, fingers closing around Julian's wrist with crushing force. Julian gasped, surprise breaking his professional composure. The struggle erupted in darkness. Julian swung his free hand, striking toward Leo's throat. Leo rolled sideways, maintaining his grip while manufacturing clumsy movements. He had to appear blind, disoriented, fighting on instinct rather than tactical awareness. Julian's knee connected with Leo's ribs, damaged tissue from the previous assault's screaming protest. Leo used the pain to fuel his counterattack, delivering a precise strike to Julian's solar plexus disguised as wild flailing. They crashed into furniture. Glass shattered. The weighted baton from Julian's previous assault materialized in his free hand. Leo tracked the weapon's trajectory through sound, the whistling cut through air. He twisted, letting the baton connect with his shoulder instead of his skull. The impact sent lightning through damaged nerves. He grabbed Julian's collar, using momentum to slam the larger man into the bedside table. The heavy brass lamp toppled, crashing against hardwood with deafening force. Leo screamed, a confused, terrified sound perfect for a man experiencing drug-induced night terrors. "Help! Someone help me!" Footsteps thundered in the hallway. Security guards responding to the disturbance. Julian wrenched free, the syringe falling forgotten beneath the bed. He fled through the balcony door, disappearing into shadows seconds before the guards burst into the room. They found Leo collapsed on the floor, trembling and disoriented. One guard helped him upright while the other examined the wreckage. "Bad dream, Mr. Thorne." Leo nodded, his expression vacant. The shadows. They were moving. The guards exchanged sympathetic glances. Another incident to document. More evidence of cognitive decline. They departed after checking the perimeter, dismissing the incident as the hallucination of a heavily medicated man. Morning arrived with cruel brightness. Leo stood at the master suite window, watching satellite trucks materialize at the estate gates. CNBC, BBC, Reuters. International news agencies deploying their equipment with military precision. Dozens of cameras. Hundreds of reporters. Tiffany had invited the global media to cover their wedding. Leo's hidden earpiece crackled to life. Martha's voice emerged, brief and tactical. Phase 3 complications. The press presence changes everything. "Explain," Leo whispered, his voice barely audible. "If you reveal your recovery now, her legal team will argue entrapment. They'll frame you as the manipulator, staging a publicity stunt to humiliate an innocent bride. Public opinion becomes weaponized against you." Leo processed the implications with cold analytical precision. Tiffany had transformed his private struggle into public spectacle. Truth became secondary to narrative. If he fought openly during the ceremony, Sterling Global's stock would collapse. The board would use the chaos as justification for permanent removal. He was trapped in paradox. To prove his sanity, he had to continue performing madness. "Options?" he asked. Martha's silence spoke volumes. "You walk down the aisle. You say the vows. You let her believe she's won. And afterward, we execute phase 4. But not today. Not with cameras watching." Leo severed the connection. He turned from the window, examining his reflection in the full-length mirror. His tuxedo hung perfectly, tailored lines emphasizing his lean frame. His hands were steady, no longer trembling. Behind the carbon fiber bandages, his eyes tracked across the room with perfect clarity. The wedding bells began to chime across the estate, their sound echoing through glass and steel. Leo adjusted his bow tie with surgical precision. He would walk down the aisle. Play the broken victim. Say, "I do," to his enemy. Victory required patience. Required sacrifice. Required enduring one more humiliation before the trap could finally spring. Leo descended toward the waiting cars, toward the cathedral, toward the moment he would marry the woman who'd planned his murder. The performance wasn't finished. The checkmate was still 3 moves away. St. Jude's Cathedral rose against the afternoon sky like a monument to ancient power, its stone walls absorbing centuries of prayers and confessions. Leo sat in the black sedan as it glided through the historic old sector, leaving behind the hyper-modern glass prison of his estate. The transition felt deliberate. Cold minimalism giving way to weathered stone and Gothic arches. Tiffany occupied the seat beside him, her fingers wrapped possessively around his arm. She wore white lace, a custom gown designed to project innocence and devotion. Her beauty appeared sharp and symmetrical under the filtered light, but Leo caught the predatory satisfaction glinting in her jade eyes. "Almost there, darling," she whispered, her voice saccharine. "Our special day." The sedan stopped at the cathedral's entrance. Camera flashes erupted like artillery fire. International press lined the stone steps, CNBC, BBC, Reuters, their equipment tracking every movement. Leo allowed himself to be guided from the vehicle, his movements deliberately uncertain. Tiffany's grip tightened as they ascended the steps, each one narrow and treacherous. The crowd murmured sympathy, watching the devoted bride lead her broken genius toward matrimony. The cathedral's interior swallowed them in echoing vastness. The dome stretched overhead, creating a 5-second acoustic delay. 3-story LED panels flanked the altar, currently displaying soft-focus photographs of the couple, Tiffany gazing adoringly at Leo's bandaged face, Leo appearing lost and vulnerable. Leo's feet registered the haptic feedback from ancient stone. Different from the mansion's sophisticated flooring, but his nervous system adapted instantly, cataloging the cathedral's spatial dimensions. The altar stood elevated on 12 steep marble steps, a precarious cliffside designed to make a blind man appear small and helpless. The priest waited at the summit, his robes pristine white against dark wood. Beside him rested a velvet cushion bearing documents, the marriage certificate concealing the power of attorney transfer. Leo's distorted vision tracked Julian in the front pew. The golden boy wore a bespoke Italian suit, his hand resting casually on a leather briefcase. Inside, encrypted codes for Sterling Global's offshore accounts. Julian's smile appeared polished and confident, the expression of a man moments from victory. The ceremony began with traditional solemnity. Latin phrases echoed through stone corridors. The priest's voice reverberated across the dome, words layering over themselves in acoustic delay. High society guests filled the pews, board members, socialites, politicians. Their expressions ranged from sympathy to barely concealed curiosity. They'd come to witness tragedy disguised as romance. Tiffany positioned herself beside Leo, her white lace train spreading across marble like spilled milk. She reached for his hand, her fingers cold and possessive. The priest presented the documents. The couple will now sign the marriage certificate, binding themselves in holy matrimony and shared estate. Leo took the silver fountain pen from Tiffany's outstretched hand. His fingers trembled with manufactured weakness. He leaned over the documents, his body swaying slightly. Tiffany leaned close, her jasmine perfume overwhelming. She whispered into his ear, her voice dropping into that gravelly rasp meant only for him. "This is the moment, darling. The moment you lose everything. How does it taste?" Leo's hand moved across the paper, forming wavering letters. The crowd held its breath, cameras focusing on the signature transferring billions of dollars and corporate control to the woman in white lace. The priest blessed the union with raised hands. "We now present the rings." A young boy approached, no more than 7 years old, carrying a silk pillow bearing 2 gold bands. He walked with careful, measured steps, trained to move slowly for the cameras. Leo's posture shifted. The slouch vanished. His spine straightened, shoulders squaring with military precision. His hand shot forward with surgical accuracy, snatching the gold band from the cushion before the boy could complete his approach. The fluid, precise movement sent shock waves through the gathered crowd. Whispers erupted, spreading through pews like wildfire. Leo stood tall, no longer the broken invalid. He reached up with deliberate slowness and removed the carbon fiber bandages wrapping his skull. The matte black glasses followed. His eyes, clear, sharp, focused, locked onto Tiffany's face. The gaze pierced through her carefully constructed facade, cold and analytical, the eyes of a predator who'd been watching from the shadows for months. Tiffany's face drained of color. Her mouth opened in shock, words dying before they could form. She physically recoiled against the altar, her white lace gown rustling against marble. "Hello, Tiffany," Leo said, his voice losing its soft monotone. The words emerged sharp and commanding. "I can see you perfectly." Leo's hand moved to his tuxedo sleeve. Hidden within the fabric, his fingers found the microtransmitter Martha had embedded in the lining. 3 taps activated the override sequence. The cathedral's LED screens flickered. The romantic slideshow stuttered, pixels fragmenting into digital chaos. The soft wedding music cut off mid-note, replaced by a low-frequency hum. Sterling global security protocols seized the cathedral's entire digital network. Electronic locks engaged on every exit with synchronized precision. The massive screens erupted into high-definition clarity. Footage captured by Leo's hidden cameras filled the displays. Tiffany's face, 20 feet tall, appeared on screen, her expression twisted into cruel satisfaction as she swapped medication bottles. The audio played crystal clear through the cathedral's sound system. "The pathetic blind dog doesn't suspect a thing," her recorded voice announced. "Another week and we'll have full control." The crowd gasped. Camera operators pivoted, capturing the screens instead of the altar. Julian appeared in the footage, laughing as he detailed the staged overdose plan. Their intimate conversations played in surround sound, discussions of murder, corporate espionage, the timeline for Leo's accidental death. Tiffany's hands flew to her mouth. "No. This isn't real." Leo finished. "It's very real. Every moment documented. Every crime recorded." Julian erupted from his pew, the briefcase clutched against his chest. He sprinted toward the side entrance, his polished shoes slapping against stone. The heavy oak doors refused to open. Electronic locks held firm. Figures emerged from shadows near the entrance. Martha led a team of plainclothes officers, their badges visible against dark suits. They moved with coordinated precision, surrounding Julian before he could alter his trajectory. He crashed to the floor under their combined weight. The briefcase skittered across stone, its contents, encrypted drives and offshore account codes, spilling across marble. "Evidence of corporate espionage and grand larceny," Martha announced, her voice carrying military authority. "Seized and logged." The screens continued their merciless display. Footage of Tiffany tripping Martha during the garden party. Audio of her mocking Leo's disability. Video of her administering doubled sedative doses while logging false medical data. The international press captured every second, broadcasting Tiffany's true nature to millions of viewers worldwide. Tiffany's carefully curated public face shattered completely. Rage and desperation twisted her features into something ugly and primal. Her vision of purity dissolved, revealing the sociopath beneath. She lunged at Leo with killing intent, her arms extending to push him toward the steep marble stairs. Her white lace veil tore as she threw her weight forward. Leo's hand closed around her wrist mid-strike. His grip was iron, the strength of a man who'd endured weeks of secret conditioning, who'd built muscle despite chemical assault. He caught her other wrist as she swung wildly. Held her suspended between attack and restraint, his hands like shackles preventing further violence. He didn't strike her. Didn't need to. He simply held her in place while cameras captured her frantic struggling, broadcasting the final image of her true nature to the world. Martha ascended the altar steps, accompanied by a lead detective. She carried a tablet displaying real-time data synchronization from the black site bunker, forensic evidence of fraud, coercion, and attempted murder. "Tiffany Vance," the detective announced, producing handcuffs. "You're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, fraud, grand larceny, and corporate espionage." The officers secured Tiffany's hands with high-strength zip ties, the industrial restraints contrasting sharply against her delicate lace sleeves. The irony wasn't lost on the assembled crowd, the bride arrested in her wedding gown. She was led down the aisle she'd intended to walk as victor. Her white train dragged across stone, collecting dust and debris. The international press she'd invited to witness her triumph now documented her perp walk to waiting police cruisers. Camera flashes illuminated her descent, each burst of light capturing another angle of her humiliation for global consumption. Leo descended the altar steps with measured control. His movements were precise, confident, no longer performing fragility. He walked through the cathedral's massive doors into brilliant afternoon sunlight. Clean air filled his lungs. No jasmine perfume. No chemical fog. No oppressive presence eroding his sanity. Martha emerged beside him, her posture shifting from deferential housekeeper to high-ranking military officer. The frail performance had vanished, revealing the disciplined sentinel beneath. Leo turned to face her, offering a rare, genuine smile. The expression transformed his features, softening the cold analytical mask he'd worn for months. "You know, Martha," he said, his voice carrying satisfaction and relief in equal measure. "The view is much better when you finally get the trash out of the house." Martha's professional smile reflected the sunlight. "Welcome home, sir." The cathedral bells began to chime, not for a wedding, but for justice rendered. The sound echoed across the old sector, marking the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. Leo removed his tuxedo jacket, loosening the bow tie that had felt like a noose. He stood on ancient stone steps, watching police cruisers disappear down cobblestone streets. Sterling Global would recover. The board would recognize his competence once the evidence circulated. The company he'd built would remain under his control. But more importantly, the gilded cage had shattered. The performance was finished. The trap had sprung with surgical precision. Leo Thorne could finally see clearly, and the view was magnificent.